So, what's the plan? Hello, good people. Well, welcome back. This is the 11th day that I'm working with my stash. But let me go through this a little more in detail. These dresses were given to me by a friend that I helped her move her mother out of her house kind of situation. I'm like, oh, don't throw those away. And they're like, why? They're stained. And I say, yeah, but maybe I can make something out of that. And here's the truth. It's been 12 years since I've said that, and I have yet to do anything with this fabric, but I am here to make amends. I'm going to be true to my word. This little tag here, don't worry, I'm going to bring it closer to the camera so you can actually read it, because this is kind of important. At some point, I had all this fabric stash in a box, and this was the tag from the box. July 25th, 2010 was when this fabric was boxed. And in that time of my life, my son was 2, my marriage was a little more than 2 years old, and I was trying to get things together and figure out, as a newlywed young mother, what was I going to do with my life? Well, I wasn't going to be doing much sewing, I can tell you that. This first bit of fabric is I think you would call it muslin, and that has been in my collection since at least 1998. You could do the math. Yep, that was high school. That was art class. I was stretching that fabric for canvases to paint in acrylics for art class, which I love very much. I would love to get back into painting. But guys, we're talking multiple tiers here. Painting is probably going to be way down the line, like tier 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. This other piece of fabric was just some green fabric. I may have gotten it like on the discount rack, because even at a young age, I was cheap. Now this I bought at Walmart in at least probably 1999 or 1998, and it was sold as a set. So all these fabrics were sold together. They're all the same size, and it was sold as quilting fabric, because even then, in my younger years, I had this desire to achieve what I am now trying really hard to accomplish by making the quilt. And beautiful patterns. I love the fabric, and the stripes just seemed so comfy, like a comfy quilt would be made out of. And this bag, okay, I can already tell. This has a UFO in there. Check it out. This is one panel of a purse that I was making. It'd be like a drawstring design, and I was hand sewing everything in the late 90s. In fact, I was challenging myself to make this reversible so I could turn the bag inside out and you wouldn't see the inner seams. So it's already a bag, but you would put 2 of these panels together and sew them, and that would make it a reversible bag. This is something that I have somehow held on to, that came out of my mother's sewing material. I can't remember the event of how this came to be. I don't remember. I remember my mom all the time doing cross stitching and sewing, and those were the good memories about my mom. And she passed away, I think 5 years ago, and I'm probably wrong on that number, but she passed away many years ago now. And when I was little, like when I was 9, I remember somehow this fabric was my mom's, and I had held on to it. It was somehow mixed in with my stuff, like my toys or my clothes or something. I protected it all these years because I wanted to hold on to something that reminded me of the good times. And that's these antelopes with a little safari tree, Serengeti tree there. And I want to incorporate this in a quilt too. Now here is some salvaged piece of material. It's just a pants leg. And for a long time before I was able to go to Walmart, that was the only way I could get fabric, was if I was taking it off of clothing. Like I probably made some cut off shorts out of that and just kept the leg. And then I have some cheesecloth. I think there was a Halloween project, so I'm not sure how that's going to be into my sewings, but there it is. I've had that for a long time. Oh, here we go. I have 3 men's handkerchiefs, and actually there were 4. Number 4, the 4th one, I embroidered with my dad's initials and gave that to him for a Father's Day present. And I mean, I embroidered it by hand, putting his initials on there. So I still have the remainder of those handkerchiefs. I wonder whatever happened to that handkerchief, because my father's been gone for 13 years. I'm not sure where his monogrammed handkerchief went to. So here's a question for those more experienced people in the audience. What do you call a UFO that has yet to launch? Alright, I know this fabric is really hard to see, but it's actually like a satin, fake satin, polyester. You would never know it. But this is my graduation gown from when I got my bachelor's, and my graduation gown from where I got my master's. So there's 2. There should be a 3rd one from the high school graduation gown, which is red. I mean bright red, festive red. Oh, so now I'm going to put a quest note on my workboard. Find the red high school gown and put it with your other gowns. So you know what I'm going to do? You know what the UFO, the yet to launch UFO is for these graduation gowns? Okay, I wanted to make penguins. Yes, my dad loved penguins. And I too have the love of penguins. And I wanted to make little penguin figures. Not like cuddly stuffed animals, but maybe like a decorative item. I have a silk penguin that used to be my dad's. And some company had made the silk penguin, and someone gave it to my dad, or my dad bought it. I don't know the backstory with the penguin, but it's silk. And so when I had these black graduation gowns, I was like, oh, I'm going to copy the penguin, my dad's penguin, and make several more penguins. Because, y'all, penguins don't live by themselves. You gotta have a big old flock of penguins. I don't know what the chivalry terminology, you got a gaggle of geese, a murder of crows. What do you call a group of penguins? Comment below. And yes, that's some old socks. Some that I cannot repair. And, long story with socks, but we're going to skip that. I'm probably going to just pull that out of the stash and give it to husband for rags. Now what's funny is, after all that comment about polyester, look what I found in my original stack here. Oh yeah, it's all synthetic. You know why I have it? Because it's green. I love green. And I'm not sure what I was thinking. I think this could have been, I'm going to make myself a reversible purse if the first one goes well. And that was a complicated feat. So that's probably what that polyester was going to do. This is something I picked on the discount pile. And I believe I had an idea for something Valentine's related for this. But I never went through with it. It was so pretty. Now this material is some leftover scrap from where I worked on. I made some curtains, and then there were a few other scrap remnants that I got off the discount pile over at Walmart. That was my main place for getting fabric. Now, we didn't have a Joann's, we didn't have a Michael's. We're talking 20 years ago. You just had whatever they offered at the Walmart Supercenter. Now I'm going to open up this other bag, and I can already tell it's got some stuff from the late 90s, like while I was in high school. Possibly even my late middle school years. But this is a pair of my dad's pants. This came off of something he probably cut off to mow the yard in. But I snatched it up, and I was practicing some embroidery techniques on the back of it, but I'm too embarrassed to show you. There's the other pants leg to, well, I'm not sure where that piece of scrap fabric came from. Oh, that was going to be the beak for my penguin, the orange. Alright, this piece of material, I have a living history dress, and I paid someone to make me a dress. And those are the scrap edges of the fabric from my 1850s period dress. Now this is green velvet from my prom dress. And there's 3 pieces of that. Now that's the original pouch material. And it looks like I already cut out another one, like I was going to make a second pouch. So I'm kind of looking at that. I'm not sure if I will make another pouch out of it. I have some white fabric I was going to use as a liner. Oh, here. I was trying to make a stuffed animal as a practice of making the penguin. I thought, well, I'm going to make a little horse first. So I've got this paper cutout for the pattern. And then I had started the little horse. And it's supposed to have a yarn tail and a yarn mane. See, I've got the legs done. So it was 3-dimensional. See, I've got the legs. And all I had to do, what I have still left to do, is to add this last panel for the horse. So that's a UFO. There's all the pieces. And it's not the kind of material that I would make a horse out of, but it was the mock-up version. So I was going to practice making the little horse and then graduate to a better piece of fabric. This was a remnant that I got on the cheap. Maybe if I get 2,000 subscribers, I'll be able to use this fabric. It's got like a glitter interwoven in it, so it sparkles. Oh, this is a dress. This was my favorite sundress. And I absolutely loved this dress. I wore this dress in the summer. And then it went in the closet for the winter. And a mouse got on it. And made a nest and cut it up and bit into it and broke my heart. But I wasn't going to get rid of it. Oh no, not me. My plan was to, you guessed it, I was going to cut it up and use it for a quilt. There's so much yardage on it. I wonder if I can make something else out of that dress. But saving the best for last. In this last bag, this is the shirt that my husband wore when I first saw him. Now, it wasn't this bad off with the rips and tears. That came later. This shirt was in better condition when I saw my husband in it for the first time. And oh man, the sentimentality just oozes off of this. And I've held on to it because, as you guessed, I wanted to let this fabric live again. I was thinking a quilt, and I've kept some articles of my husband's clothes, that have just gotten so bad repair that they were discarded or they just couldn't be worn anymore. And my idea is that I want to make a quilt and pass it down to my kids and say, oh, this was your dad's work pants, and this is the shirt that I first saw him in, and this is a corduroy shirt that he used to wear all the time. Well, surely you guys know. And I would love to hear people's stories about making a quilt full of the sentimentality. Thank you everyone for listening. I know this video is kind of long, but that's what happens when you go down memory lane.